Hey, I just wanted to come on here real quick today and let you know about something that I have not talked to you about yet, and that is something called an Assisi Loop. It's something that I learned about from one of our holistic vets a few years ago when our black lab jumped off of the porch the wrong way. She was older at the time and landed just the wrong way and hurt her back. She wouldn't put any weight on her back leg and was almost completely lame. I didn't know if she had broken a vertebra in her back or if her leg was out of its socket. I just wasn't sure, but it was really scary. And I had the vet actually drive and come over to the house and check her out. And it was one of those things where it wasn't really a sprain, but she just landed wrong. And I guess like we do, if we step off of something and land the wrong way and sort of strain our ankle or something like that. So the vet actually sold me something called the Assisi Loop. And it doesn't look like there's a whole lot to it, but it's just like a rubberized loop with a little button and a little battery inside. And what you do is you lay it over the part of the body of the animal that is hurting. It could be their lower back or their hip. Those are usually the most common places. But what it is it's an anti-inflammatory tPEMF, Targeted Pulsed Electromagnetic Field. And what that does is you can't see it obviously or even really feel it necessarily, but it like a cone comes out on both sides of this loop. This is the larger one. They make a smaller one too. And you just lay it on the body part and the cone kind of goes out and envelops the animal's body, and it goes through a cloth or a blanket. So it doesn't actually need to be on their fur. And you push the button and just lay it on there, or they lay on it. And they don't even know what you're doing or that it's doing anything usually. And it will run a circuit for 15 minutes. You just press the button and there's a red blinking light that comes on, and you just make sure it stays in place, and that's it. And then it'll turn itself off in 15 minutes. And it's like they've had a really fantastic anti-inflammatory session. And it actually makes their body produce chemically what it needs to produce to suppress and get rid of the inflammation that's gotten to be too much. So it works with an injury like a strain, sprain, wrenching of the back, that kind of a thing. And then it works with wounds that are too swollen, and it works with post-surgery healing. I've not used it for that purpose, but the website says that it's good for that, which is nice. And then it works for arthritis. And in my experience, for a short-term, strain, sprain, injury, like my cat fell off of something and got his leg tangled up in a bar, and he was hanging from the bar, and it bent it in a way that didn't feel good to him, and he yelled and ran off and hid and was limping and wouldn't use his leg. So I was really grateful that I had the loop in the house already, and I went and got it and laid it on or held it kind of over his hip and his back leg, and just did it once. And then I gave him some homeopathics too, like arnica and things like that, to help with him emotionally and the healing and all that. But then by the next morning, it's like it hadn't even happened. I mean, I had it available, treated it immediately. And so we didn't have to go to the vet. We didn't have to do anything. The next day he was running and playing just like normal. So that was a lifesaver. And with our dog, who had jumped and her lower back had rendered her almost unable to walk, I used it twice a day for maybe 2 to 3 days. And this was 4 or 5 years ago. And after that, the injury never reoccurred. It never came back. She was walking perfectly, and that was the end of that. We didn't have to give her any drugs. We didn't have to give her any shots, nothing. I mean, just the loop was all she got. And it totally just let her body heal up whatever was out of whack and whatever was inflamed. And no side effects and no taxing effects on her liver or her stomach or her digestive system in any way, like what happens with drugs. And then, it's really great for so many reasons. It can, if you're sure that there's not, something really extensive, like a bone that's broken that needs to be set or something like that. But if you pretty much know what's happened to your animal and why there's inflammation, you can go ahead and start using it. And they should start improving right away. And if any of you have had to try and give medicine to cats on a good day, I've never been able to do it. Never, ever have I been able to do it. It's a messy fight if it is a liquid medicine, and if it's a pill, it's just not happening. It is not happening. I can't do it. I've tried for decades and decades, and I've never been successful giving a cat a pill. I know some people can, but it's not me. And that's, and not to mention a cat who's hurting or, wanting to be left alone. And then you're trying to mess with him or her and get him to swallow. I mean, that would just be a nightmare on so many levels. So that's why I wanted to just kind of tell everyone about this, because I had never heard of it. And a lot of veterinarians have never heard of it. It's, obviously not going to be taught in medical schools, veterinarian schools. So, and when I was first introduced to it, it was by prescription only, and the vet could get it and give it to me. But it wasn't available in any stores. But now I've seen that, like Chewy.com, which most of you are probably familiar with, they carry them in both sizes, and that's fantastic. So now that it's readily available, and I'm sure other sites like Amazon carry it as well, if you've got an animal, if horses, cats, dogs, I'm sure just about any animal can benefit from it, and who are older, who have arthritis, or, accidents happen. And the sooner you get to treating it, then the better. And of course, in my case, it seems like accidents always happen over the weekend. So you really don't want to have to wait for your ability to help your animal. And so I really think it's worth the investment. Get the Assisi Loop. I'll put a link below so you can find it. The small one is plenty big for cats and small dogs. And then this bigger one is for larger animals. And read about it, learn about it. It's phenomenal. It's really cool. There's no side effects. It's easy. It doesn't upset them to use it. Either they don't even know what you're doing, or it feels soothing to them. They like it. So you're treating the animal. There's no side effects like with drugs, and you're not having to upset them or mess with them when they're not feeling well to give them this healing therapy. So that's it today. Let me know if you've ever heard of it, if you've ever tried it, had any experiences with it, or if you have any questions. I'll be happy to help you out with my experience and anything that I've learned about it. Thanks. Bye.